Hello, guys, and happy Transformation Tuesday. I wanted to create a video to talk a little bit about habits. Okay, so for those of you who are big on like Transformation Tuesday and things like that, in my line of work with being a healthy lifestyle coach and personal trainer, a lot of things that we talk about are, the transformations that happen. And I'm not just talking about weight loss transformations or body transformations, but first and foremost, I want you guys, to always be thinking about what it is you want to accomplish or what it is that you want to achieve. And then once you have that in your mind, as you go through the process, as you go through that journey, you should always be thinking and being aware of some of the great things that have happened over the way. Hi, Jennifer. Thanks for joining. You want to think about that kind of stuff. Okay, so that's kind of one thing to think about when it comes to Transformation Tuesday. But today, what I actually want to really focus on was give you 3 points when it comes to habits. Okay, if you want a transformation in your life, whether it's health and fitness or whether it's weight loss or anything, whether it's finances or your relationships, at the end of the day, if you're going to get a transformation, it's going to mean that you have to really dive into your habits. Okay, your habits are things that you do habitually. I mean, that's not a really good definition, but they're things that you do on a daily basis that you do without even thinking. Like some people don't even realize, but a habit of brushing your teeth. You brush your teeth hopefully at least every morning and every night. But that's a habit that you formed. No one is waking you up and reminding you to brush your teeth. No one, you don't have an alarm on your phone to tell you to brush your teeth, right? Like it's something that you do because it's a habit that you formed since you were young. Hi, Nina. So those are definitely things that you think about with habits, right? So one thing to think about when it comes to your transformation or achieving goals or reaching goals or whatever it is, it's what you do on a daily basis will determine your success in that transformation, period. It will also determine your failure. Okay, so really think about that. It's your success or your failure. Hey James, yes, I'm doing videos. You told me to do them. I'm doing more of them. Your success or your failure is going to be dictated on the habits, on the things that you do. So if you are not doing what needs to be done, then you can't be really confused or upset about the results you didn't receive because your habits weren't in check. A lot of times we think that it's our resources or that we don't have time or that we don't have the money or the knowledge, but a lot of it, when it comes to knowledge, it's 2016, people. If you need to figure out something, you can Google it, all right? Google is like your best friend. So if you don't know how to do something, you can Google it. If it comes to health and fitness, come to me. I'll help you out. But that's something to think about. So a lot of these are excuses. So I'm gonna give you my 3 tips, okay? So the first thing is when it comes to building better habits, stop focusing on the bad habits that you have, all right? So, for example, with dieting, right? I hate the D word. I think that dieting is like the worst thing ever because it doesn't work. There's a whole $1 billion industry built on you to fail at dieting. That's why the diet industry works so well. So when it comes to dieting, what I find people do is they focus so much on what they can't have. They focus on so much about the foods that are off limits. They focus on what they have to give up that they become obsessed with that habit or they become obsessed with that bad habit that they've had that led them up to needing a diet, right? But let's say, for example, you switched your focus and you focus on what are the things that I can eat? What are the things that I can do in this new journey of being a healthy eater or a clean eater? What you focus on grows. What you focus on, you get more of. You think about it. If I told you today, when you leave your house today to focus on a red car, you're going to see hundreds of red cars. Okay? And that's something that you have to do. Chris, you have a protective covering over your rock hard abs. You don't know what to do. Nutrition. We can work on that. I once had when I was first starting working out, it's like 6 or 7 years ago, my trainer told me that I had insulation over my abs, basically saying that I had to lose some belly fat. But, so if I told you to go outside right now and I said, look outside and look for red cars, you're going to see some red cars. You're going to see hundreds of red cars, right? And that's because that's what you're focusing on. So if you're focusing on the fact that you shouldn't be eating Snickers bars and drinking Diet Coke with every single meal, what do you think you're going to focus on? The Snickers and the Diet Coke. But if I had you to focus on, eating foods that are going to fuel your body, and I say, okay, I want you to go to the grocery store and I want you to find three, foods that you've never tried before that you want to experiment with, or I want you to go and start thinking about some healthy chicken recipes or whatever, you're going to start seeing them. You're going to start hearing people talking about them. It's not that they're just brand new, but it's the fact that you're focusing on the good. When you focus on the good, then, it's even like what they say, like in fairy tales, good overcomes evil, right? It's that simple. Start focusing on the good things. We are so, Natalie, oh my gosh, that's such a great point. You said those socially conditioned hidden powers of embracing guilt and all that. It's so disruptive. That's why she talks about the hidden power of patterns. Natalie Forrest is an amazing author and coach. You guys should check her out. She's one of my WGC soul sisters, but that's exactly it. That's what I was kind of getting to, is, when you focus on the good things and you remove that guilt and you remove that shame away, then you start to feel free and liberated to do more things. But if you're so stuck on all these bad habits that you have, listen, a habit is not permanent. You can start or stop a habit whenever you choose to. It's your decision to do it. So you have to learn to break those bad habits, but sometimes it's about adopting new ones that will eventually knock a lot more bad habits out the way. That's what I found, is when I started to change one thing positively, a lot of my other bad habits just naturally started to go away because I wasn't focusing on that anymore. I'm glad that this is resonating with you guys. I love the hearts and stuff. It's so cool to see you guys do stuff like that. It makes me feel I'm on the right track. So the next thing that you want to focus on is being consistent. So I think a lot of times with when we start to build good habits, again, I'm talking about focusing on building good habits and understanding that the bad habits will naturally go away. Okay, that's my thought process here. But you have to be consistent. A lot of times what happens, and it kind of goes back to what Natalie was just talking about with the shame and the guilt that comes with it, is if you have a day that's kind of off and you don't do a good job, don't just say, well, you know what, whatever, I can't, I didn't do good this day, I'm just going to give up. You have to be consistent. I always tell this to my coaches, my clients, to my mentees. I say consistency creates competency, and competency creates confidence, and confidence creates change. Okay? If you are consistently doing something, you eventually will develop this competence. You will develop this understanding of what you need to do. And from that understanding, from that competence, you become confident in that habit, in that action, in that mindset, in that task. And then from there, with that confidence, you begin to be a different person because now you know that you can do these things. And I'm telling you, if you can just do that, you won't have those moments of guilt and shame and like Jenny just said, beating yourself up over, messing up. You just get back to it because you know if you keep doing it, it will get better. So if you take nothing from this, number one, focus on the good habits. The good habits will eventually eradicate the bad ones. Two, consistency creates competence, which creates confidence, which creates change, okay? And so to kind of piggyback off that, my third point is think about how you're going to track your progress, okay? You won't know if you're consistent in something or not if you don't have a way of tracking it. And anyone who knows me knows I'm all about lists and systems and things like that. So I'm gonna show you kind of how I stay active and consistent with my business, little things, like something so simple. Like here's my to-do list, right? So on my to-do list, I have things like work out, drink Shakeology, check in with my team, check in with my challengers, return all messages, read personal development for the day, post on social media. Those are things that I do, and I have to keep a list of it to see exactly what I'm doing. I also have a list of people that I need to follow up with. I have a list of projects I want to work on, and I work off this type of thing every single day. And the reason why I do it is because if I'm not seeing results in my business, if I'm not seeing results in my fitness, if I'm not seeing results in my health, I can go back and say, okay, on the first, I worked out, but on the third, it's working out's now a habit. But for example, on the fourth, I didn't work out that day. So it's allowing me to track and see my progress. So if you don't know what you're tracking, or you don't know what you're trying to be consistent in, and you can't visually see it, it's really hard sometimes to stay on point with it. So figure out a way to track it. Maybe you just have, I'm a fan of Post-its. So maybe you keep Post-its around and you just have a little ticker, create a thing that says, workout. So let's say I'll create a Post-it, right? And then every single day that you work out, you just put a little tick mark for the week. At the end of the week, if you have 7 tick marks, you've done your job. If you didn't, then figure out why not. What did you do? What was your reason for not doing it? The great thing about tracking is that you can figure out. Yeah, Nina, I'm a fan of Post-its. Oh my gosh, I have so many Post-its. It's ridiculous. But when you go through and you track your progress, you'll know, okay, I'm operating right now at a 60%. Okay, 60% of the time I am doing this good habit. That's the perfect opportunity to realize, what can I do differently? What are things that I need to change? When you track your consistency and your progress, you get immediate feedback. And that's something that's important when you're building habits, because you need to know immediately, does something need to change? Because, you don't want to start working on a habit that's not great and then you continue to build. So now you're building like a very weak habit. It's not a good habit. It's not going to eradicate the bad ones. It has to be a solid habit. So figure out ways to track your progress. And at the same time, let's say, for me, my goal is 80%. If I can stay on point 80% of the time, that's success for me. And if I see that my numbers are 80%, I reward myself, because you want to reward good behavior. You want to reward doing a good job. And then you also want to reassess behaviors, or if your numbers aren't where they need to be, you want to reassess and see, what can you do differently? How can you change? What do you need to add? What do you need to adjust? What sacrifices, compromises do you need accountability? So, consistency can only really happen when you track properly, okay? So just some things to think about with your habits. Number 1, focus on the good. Remember, good habits will eradicate the bad ones naturally. So don't even worry about those bad habits right now. Focus on what you can add into your life. Be a person who operates in abundance and fulfillment, not a person who operates in lack and what gets taken away. Because what you focus on, you get more of. If you focus on adding more goodness to your life, you get more goodness. If you focus on what's taken away, or the negativity, you get more negativity in your life. All right? That's fact. Don't believe me, try it out. It works. If you have a lot of crap that's being put into your life right now, think about where your focus is. And the same thing with your habits. Number 2, remember, consistency creates competence, which creates confidence, which creates change. If you want to see change in your habits, in your life, in your transformation, then you have to be consistent. Period. You can't do it when you want to. You have to do it every day because it's necessary. And if that change that you want to have is that important to you, then you will make it happen. And the number 3 is tracking your progress. Tracking your progress will give you a better idea of the reassessment and the immediate of what needs to happen. At the same time, you also need to do the reward system of what you can do to reward yourself for being so great at being, 80%, 90%, 100% of reaching that habit. So those are my tips. Sorry, I probably went a little bit over, but I just loved seeing some of you guys post. I would love to know what good habits that you want to focus on for the next, give yourself a time frame for the next, 7 days. What do you want to focus on? Right now, I have a 5-day clean eating challenge that's going on, and we're just focusing on eating healthy. I'm not talking about what to take away. I'm just talking about adding good foods into your diet for 5 days and see how your life changes. And then we'll take it from there. So I'd love to see what your good habits you want to incorporate between now and the next Tuesday. And, maybe you'll have a great transformation that you can share, because transformations can happen in a week. It's all about your habits. It's all about your commitment to consistency. And it's about how you track your progress to stay on point. So thank you guys so much for watching. Happy Transformation Tuesday. Have a great rest of your day. And I will see you guys later. Bye.